Hello indie game fans, it's a small week of indie games, so let's begin with a throwback title in Ex Vitro, a Metroidvania title that is definitely Metroid inspired, in which you delve into the ruins of a military research facility and battle the enemies within. It's so much of a throwback that they even retain the 4x3 resolution, and the best part is, it should be completely free, so no harm checking it out. Here's quite the curiosity in Death's Toll, a self-described randomly generated road trip title that is an action roguelite by another name, adding in some survival elements to the top-down action. A mysterious beast is pursuing you, and every minute that you waste or spend scavenging for resources means that it is getting closer and closer, in which you need to make your way across the map, with each location filled with something new and interesting to discover. I love the pixel art here, and this is another game that seems to have Vampire Survivors inspiration, but does not directly copy it and is the hidden gem of the week. Love indie games? Sign up to my newsletter to get a weekly dose of what's hot, along with some news and of course, weekly game giveaways, so if interested, link is in the description below. I'm not quite sure what kind of mass appeal Joy of Programming will have, since it's a puzzle coding title in which you have to write real Python code in order to solve the puzzles. Programming has always been one of those mythical, out-of-reach skills, and there have been many attempts to gamify it to various levels of success, so this is the latest game to try, and while it isn't the prettiest, could be a new form of edutainment game. This developer has had quite the interesting catalogue of games across genres, where he found some success in the stealth action titles released, resulting in another one in Under a Star Long Code, following his previous title, No Sun to Worship, which definitely had Metal Gear Solid vibes. This time, this game is more sci-fi and even has a timer element in which you only have 30 minutes to loot the planet so that you can pay off your debts. As such, it seems like a smaller, more arcadey experience, almost like a modern high-score chase kind of game, but with a vibe that feels similar to Star Wars, so I'm all in on that. I don't usually include demos in the top 10 of the week, but it's a small week and this game is too good not to share, since Kādomon Hyper Auto Battler's Prologue is a demo version of an upcoming roguelite auto battler title that is basically Super Autopets but Pokemon. I love both of those, so this is of interest, and there's no harm trying it out for free, and if interested, wishlist the main game as well. Smaller games begin with Box's Lost Fragments, a puzzle box title in which you're fiddling with various chests and enclosures in order to solve their puzzles and to get to the treasure, where I believe this was previously on mobile, but the Steam version will be a premium title without ads or microtransactions and will be for fans of games like The Room. Following a release in September 2023, the real-time tactics game Last Train Home gets a paid DLC titled Legion Tales with more missions.
The Russian Civil War will soon fade into memory, as will the challenges we faced. Whatever we may have done, and wherever we are now, we are bound together by our Legion Tales.
Pangolin Cassowary doesn't look like the most polished 3D platformer title, especially with the relatively Spartan environments and backgrounds, but if the title didn't give it away, it follows in the footsteps of titles like Banjo-Kazooie and Yooka-Laylee with the two characters setup, each having complementary skills as they explore the city and uncover its secrets, and looks pretty pleasant. Here's a title with a good amount of hype behind it, in which Legendary Hoplite is a vertical tower defense title as compared to horizontal ones like Plants vs Zombies, in which you're slaying hordes of monsters using your weapons and defenses. There are some RPG elements like loot for your hero that can actually significantly damage enemies as compared to the more feeble player avatar in other tower defense games, even having boss fights, and looks like it's for fans of the genre. While the Steam page does say English language is not supported in Murders on the Yangtze River, screenshots and trailers show that it is available, so do not write off this detective title just yet. It's an Ace Attorney-like game set in 20th century China, in which you have to use your detective skills to solve a variety of cases. You must use evidence, logical reasoning, and debate to catch the criminal, having a good art style as well.
Ghosts and gods are not at work here. People are.
If you're an indie developer and have no idea how to start with marketing your game, get on my mailing list via the link in the description below, where I'll send you some free templates and guides soon. So apparently this title released on Switch last year, so this is technically a port to PC and other consoles, in which Speed Crew is a multiplayer co-op party game, think Overcooked, but where you are instead playing as members of a pit crew and have to swap out parts for a race car as quickly as possible, all in service of helping the team win as many championship points as possible. It has been relatively overlooked on Switch, but the Metacritic scores are in the 70s and 80s, so it should be good. So here's hoping that the multi-platform release pays off for them, since it looks kind of fun. One of my most anticipated releases of the month is Eastward Octopia, a farming sim spin-off of the gorgeous pixel art action-adventure game Eastward from 2021, taking place in an alternate timeline. Our two main characters in Sam and John return, only instead of fighting enemies, they are tending to a farm in the town of Octopia, and retains the gorgeous pixel art that made the original stand out. There will be returning characters from the original as well, but the alternate timeline versions of them, so while they may be familiar, you will get to know them all over again in this new context. Curiously, this is not a standalone game, but rather a paid DLC attached to the main game, which would definitely affect sales of the DLC, so I do wonder if there's some specific narrative reason as to why the developer is doing this. one of the best roguelites of last year releases out of early access in the not-so-indie Blaze Blue Entropy Effect, since it does feature characters from the notable fighting game franchise but made more accessible to a wider audience due to the whole roguelite platformer thing. It's one of the most beautiful titles, especially in the animations, with the reception being very positive so far, with there even being plans for more content after 1.0, and already looks like a standout entry this early in 2024. A special shoutout goes to Patreon member and indie game ultra fan Sean H, and if you love roguelites, then you have to watch this video for 50 upcoming titles.